We are here to talk about the INVESTMED project, which is a project, the acronym means Innovative Sustainable Startups for the Mediterranean. The INVESTMED project was carried out being funded by the ENI CBC Med program, which is the largest program to support the partnership between the European Union and its neighborhood countries from the southern and eastern part of the Mediterranean shores. The long-term objective of the partnership was to promote the economic integration by removing all the barriers to trade and between the European Union and its neighborhoods partners in the southern shore, and also among the countries that belong to the neighborhood themselves. The investment project involved specifically Egypt, Greece, Italy, Lebanon, Spain and Tunisia. The priority of the INVESTMED was to create an enabling environment for startups and newly established micro, small and medium enterprises from Egypt, Lebanon and Tunisia in 3 sectors: the green sector, the blue economy sector and the creative and cultural sector. The members of the INVESTMED partnership were Union of Mediterranean Confederation of Enterprises, which is called by acronym BusinessMed, Beyond Reform and Development, in acronym BRD, the Chamber of Commerce of Spain, CCE, the Confederation of Egyptian European Business Associations, CEBA, the Euro-Mediterranean Economists Association, EMEA, the Institute of Entrepreneurship Development, IED, the European Institute of the Mediterranean, IEMED, and the Libera Università Maria Santissima Assunta, LUMSA. The investment project addressed 9 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development by the United Nations. Specifically, these 9 SDGs that were at the core of our project were SDG 4, quality education, SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, SDG 10, reduced inequalities, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, SDG 13, climate action, SDG 14, life underwater, and last but not least, SDG 17, partnerships for the goals. Actually, our project, investment project, was an example of cross-border partnerships. Within these 9 SDGs that we just mentioned, the specific goals of INVESTMED were to meet regional challenges effectively, particularly those concerning high levels of unemployment among young people and women, and to facilitate participants' access to both venture capitals and new markets through capacity building, coaching and mentoring, and intellectual property rights campaigns. For all these purposes, INVESTMED partners have implemented a series of coordinated activities included in 5 work packages. Work package 1 addressed coordination and management. It was led by BusinessMed, the general coordinator of the project. Work package 2 regarded communication, and it was led by EMEA. Work package 3 regarded creating a supporting environment for sustainable business management. This work package was led by LUMSA University. Work package 4, facilitating access to markets for businesses led by youth and women, was led by INVESTMED. Last but not least, Work Package 5 addressed capacity building on intellectual property rights for public authorities and entrepreneurs, and it was led by BRD. As we just said, LUMSA was in charge of coordinating the INVESTMED Work Package 3, which was aimed at creating a supportive environment for sustainable business management in the green economy, blue economy, and creative and cultural sectors of the 3 target countries, which were again Egypt, Lebanon, and Tunisia. The focus was above all on startups and newly established micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, particularly on those managed or founded by youth and women. With this goal in mind, the INVESTMED Work Package 3 called for the design and implementation of 21 specific training editions to be delivered in the 3 target countries, that is 7 training cycles for each of the 3 target countries. And these 21 training editions were aimed to provide the beneficiaries of the project with the skills they need to start and manage their own businesses sustainably. According to the project, the delivery of these training events should be preceded by a 6-month preparatory phase, which included 2 main steps: a territorial analysis of the socio-economic and environmental challenges of the area. That is, a series of consultation sessions took place with business support organizations to define the training priorities. And secondly, an online survey of the level of skills, competencies, needs, and challenges faced by the young and women entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs. And this online survey aimed at identifying and determining the skills and needs in the green economy, blue economy, and creative and cultural sectors of the 3 target countries, which is again Egypt, Lebanon, and Tunisia. Now I will address LUMSA University's realization of the requirements of the INVESTMED Work Package 3. Based on the inputs that were retrieved from this first 6 months exploratory work that we already mentioned before, we recovered some inputs, analysis, and findings. Then LUMSA University and its partners of Work Package 3 designed and implemented the Sustainable Business Management Training Program. That is 7 training cycles per country. Originally, we were envisaging to have, therefore, a total of 21 countries, 7 in Egypt, 7 in Lebanon, and 7 in Tunisia. Unfortunately, there was a problem in Lebanon, and we had to cut it down to 6 training cycles. So overall, the training cycles that were delivered were 20 instead of 21. Each training cycle consisted of approximately 8 weeks duration, and each of them was focused on either the green sector or the blue economy sector or the creative and cultural sector. But in the course of action of the project, we realized that there was a demand on the ground from the beneficiaries to include a new sector, which was the renewable energy sector. These sectors were accompanied with real business cases analysis. Each training edition admitted up to 15 trainees per country. Here is how interested people could apply for the Sustainable Business Management Training Program. Applications were open to young men from 24 to 35 years old, and to women with no age limit. Applications were open to graduates, potential entrepreneurs, start-uppers, and staff members of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. The interested applicants were asked to submit their application through an online platform. It was really easy. Only 2 items were required: a motivation letter, which should highlight relevant experiences and interest in either the green or the blue or the creative and culture or renewable energy sectors, and secondly, their own curriculum vitae was required. The Sustainable Business Management training program adopted 2 main approaches. First, we had a blended learning approach, under which we mean that there was both synchronous face-to-face activities, lessons, and asynchronous lessons, which were self-study sessions. The synchronous lessons, of course, because we were under the limitations of COVID-19 pandemic, were run only remotely through online lessons, synchronous online lessons, whereas the asynchronous self-study was carried out by letting the trainees take their own views and study of asynchronous lessons that were deposited in a platform, in a dedicated platform. The second approach that we chose was to have a practical orientation, and we will probably spend more time on that later. But now let's see which were the tools, the actual tools of the SBM training program toolbox. Each training edition included first an inauguration day, a synchronous online face-to-face event of 2 hours, both to introduce the structure, the calendar, the use of the platform and the contents, and also to get to know the 15 trainees with the training instructors, but also among themselves. During the event, the trainees were divided into groups. A real business case was assigned to each group. Of course, the real business case had to do with the real enterprise operating either in the green sector or in the blue economy sector or in the creative and cultural sector or in the renewable energy sector. And the group that was assigned that specific real case was supposed to analyze that based on the guidelines that were provided within the SBM. The guidelines consisted of some instructions that were retrievable from practical guidelines, but also they consisted of the other part of the project, which was attending 14 online lessons that were available on the platform that would be attended in an asynchronous manner. Also, the group was expected to work 14 hours equivalent in terms of the group work, which was the business case analysis. And the instrument that was chosen was a very simple and widely used instrument, which is the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats for the real business case under examination. Particularly, the groups were asked to analyze the impact of the United Nations 2030 agenda on the real business case that was assigned to them by using the SDGs, the targets and the indicators provided within the agenda, as well as studying internal and external factors of the matrix for their SWOT analysis. The process of learning from the online platform, the 14 online lessons that I mentioned, as well as enacting the group work on the real business case that was assigned to the group work. This process was assisted by tutoring sessions that proved very useful in order not to lose people along the training cycles. Trainees could rely on weekly synchronous online face-to-face meetings of 1 hour with a tutor that was identified within the project to address three main aspects. First, discuss the needs of the trainees. Second, guide them through the learning process. And third, support the trainees in the real business case analysis activity. On these occasions of the tutoring sessions, trainees could also interact with their colleagues, which was part of the training session itself. Regarding the asynchronous lessons, there were 14 of them. During these training weeks, a set of asynchronous lessons, as said, was provided to the trainees on the online platform. With the skills they need in the field of sustainable business management. The e-lessons were made available on the e-learning platform. As said, this platform is /academy.ied.eu. It was created by IED, our partner. And I'm not going to list all of them, but the main topics were how we moved from the Millennium Development Goals to the Sustainable Development Goals, giving some elements for using the business model canvas, providing an example of how to use the SWOT analysis that we already mentioned, to the main instruments to achieve gender equality in society, the main non-financial reporting standards, what do we mean by ESG, environmental social governance ratings, that have become quintessential for the sustainable transition, and introducing our trainees to the circular economy. A final test took place at the end of the training sessions. It consisted of 27 items and 3 answer options each. The test was aimed to assess the knowledge by the attendees. Only one of the 3 options was 100% correct. The minimum score to pass the final test was 13 correct answers out of the 27 questions. At the end of the 8 weeks training cycle, a graduation day took place for each training cycle. This was a synchronous online face-to-face event lasting 2 hours to conclude the 8 training weeks. During the event, the groups created on the inauguration day had the opportunity to present their real business case analysis activity in front of an evaluating committee. The certificate of completion was assigned to trainees who had satisfied 3 conditions. First, they had attended at least 80% of the Sustainable Business Management training program, including the tutoring sessions. Second, they had successfully passed the final test. And third, they had actively worked on the real business case analysis activity assigned on the inauguration day, and also participated in the presentation of the analysis on the graduation day. Since we had to keep together a large community, which was composed of 20 training cycles which started in September 2021 and ended in November 2022, we implemented an instrument to keep this community together and to provide some cohesion instrument by deploying 11 webinars to which each of the trainees who had already participated in the training cycle that was happened before or would participate in a future training cycle were invited to take part. These 11 face-to-face webinars were online, of course, given the pandemic, and they were held more or less on average one per month. They were held international experts that we selected together with the partnership of EMEA, which was participating in this part of the work package. And the topics that were addressed were consistent with the topics of the 14 online lessons and of the training program that we deployed, starting with sustainable energy transition, which was the first webinar, and since then we learned of the great attention on the topic, and therefore we introduced the fourth direction besides the green economy, the blue economy, the creative and cultural sector, but also included the energy sector. Also the circular economy was addressed, and various other items were addressed within the series of 11 webinars. As said, the blended approach was very fundamental to the success of the training activities. The trainees, thanks to this blended learning approach, were able to learn at their own pace, and also they were enticed into interacting with each other and with the tutor and with the field experts. So this overall set in motion a mechanism that we can see as a visual circle, whereby there was continuous and reciprocal improvement, there was engagement and socialization at work. In addition, the group work with the use of the cooperative learning and peer education methodologies and the SWOT analysis that we already mentioned allowed for the activation of trainees' critical thinking, which is also essential for their education to be able to tackle sustainable business management problems in the future. I wish also to mention that in addition to what I already said, the opportunity to present, exploiting the flipped class methodology, the results of the group work before an evaluating committee made the trainees become and feel to be at the center of the learning process. Last but not least, to help those who were less familiar with the English language, all the materials were also translated in Arabic and in French. I should mention that you can find some figures about the degree of appreciation of the Sustainable Business Management Training Program by the attendees, and also you can read any further insights about the training program in the booklet that is linked to this short video. So at this point, I wish to thank you for your attention.